Hey, good morning and happy 6 minutes late into the new year. Yes, 6 minutes. I was 6 minutes late. Our guest today was like 3 or 4 minutes early. So, I'm sure I'm going to hear something about how he's Navy and I'm Army and, I'm getting ready for that. So I hope everybody is off to an amazing start here in 2021. I really don't know what happened to 2020. Like I have this Men in Black wiped my memory. Like I just don't remember anything about 2020. I went from 2019 to 2021. The number 20 is erased from my mind. For many of us, that's good. For many of us, we had a great year last year. So either way, we have a new year, new start, new day. And what do? I'm late. I'm late to January 2021. But other than that, we're off to a great start. Super excited to start a new year with all of you. One of my goals is to not only bring in guests each Wednesday from different areas, whether it's veteran, whether it's small business, whether it's other marketers in social media or digital marketing. I want to bring them in and help educate not only you, but myself to have a conversation and hopefully that some of you will enjoy, connect with, and grow from. So as we do this journey in 2021, I am going to try my best. I will be 48 this year. I'm going to try to do 48 continuous shows. So that's my goal for these is 48. So our guest today will be number one of 48. There's 52 weeks, so I cut myself a little bit of slack in there. But we'll see if I can make it. So let's jump into some of the overview real quick, and then we're going to bring Josh in to kind of talk to us a little bit about life and networking after the military. So real quick, every Monday is Marketing Makeup Monday with Crystal Davis. Great tips on branding yourself visually with marketing and makeup. So please check her out. She runs those in the evenings on Monday. You can always go back to her playlist, watch them. She seems to be a big hit in a lot of different communities that are wanting to know how to do and put makeup on. So that's great. We're excited that she's able to do that for us. The other thing, we are partnered with Withers Broadcasting and Dana Communications on the Stars and Stripes SI Facebook group. It is a group dedicated to veteran supporters that have businesses that support or are ran by veterans, organizations that are for veterans or started by veterans, and basically anybody that's going into the military that we want to highlight and show their support throughout Southern Illinois. We love this page. It has been growing. Please consider going in there and following this group and showing and bragging a little bit about that veteran that's in your life. I know that they're very humble and they don't want a lot of attention, but you know what? I think the communities that they live in need to know that they have these amazing people living right next door to them and making a difference to their community. So make sure that you step up, promote, support all of our veteran businesses and veteran-owned businesses. You will get an opportunity to possibly do that when you get to talk to one of our guests today. Well, the only one guest today. So let's jump in. And I'm really excited because I've known this kid. He's not really a kid. I've known this family for quite a while. And, Josh, I joke because when I taught his brother Jacob, and when I made the calendar invite for this, for some reason I had Jacob in my mind. I was thinking about him, and I put that in there. And Josh gave me a hard time about that. But Josh was in the Navy. When he got out, I feel like a fire was lit. This man has been on fire doing almost anything and everything he can for veterans. One of the things that he started, I think I'll have to ask him. I can't remember. I don't know if this program was already in place, but I think he started the vet work. And the vet work, I've attended some of the online sessions, but the Zoom calls have been good. We've had meetings in person up in St. Louis area. It's been awesome, but it connects veterans and it gives them some training. It gives them some exposure to some real life people that are trying to hire veterans and basically try to get them connected back to the communities when they get out. He's got some great insight, and it's some tough love stuff. I love it when we talk about veterans. So I'm going to bring none other than Josh in here. I'm going to add him to I think it's the left of my screen. I don't know if it's the left of yours. So we're going to bring him in. There he is. Look at that handsome devil.
Decked out in all my Navy gear.
Yeah, I've got, yeah, you got all the Navy gear, and look, here's my my Army pin. There's my Army pin.
Well, it's one of those things, thanks for having me on to start. And, talking about like the branding piece and kind of knowing where you fit in. Um, I don't typically go super over the top, ooh yeah, Navy, all this. But it's interesting because like today, I put on my salty sailor get up, and my son is 4, and he's like, "Are you gonna sell pickles today?" And I was like, "No, I'm not going to the farmer's market. I'm not going." But it really does kind of highlight that even small children kind of understand. And I think that I didn't have kids whenever I was on active duty, but I think that for children when they see their parents, in uniform, and they're going on deployment, they're going to work. That's a part of your identity. Um, Whenever I do vet working events, it's more kind of like your get up minus the hat and the glasses. But a blazer, nice jeans, a navy pin, maybe a pocket square type thing. But it's very much kind of there's still a uniform for that branding piece of kind of wanting to exist in that space. But even kids pick up on it.
Yeah, it's funny is that I didn't knowingly know what I was doing when I was doing my ugly Christmas suit campaign. I didn't know that it was going to turn into part of a branding campaign for me. But the same reference too for me was, I just changed uniforms. I went from my BDUs to these crazy suits. So yeah, Mark Davis says, "Thank you both for your service." Good morning, Mark. I hope you have a wonderful day too, my friend. Let's see if we can add that up there. There we go. So real quick, so the vet work, was I right or wrong? Did you start the vet work or was that already in place?
Yeah, so I lived in Chicago for about 4 years. 4 years too long. The Cubs won the World Series while I was up there, so that
Woo!
was a terrible, terrible moment in Carl's life. But when I got and moved to St. Louis, the Blues win the Stanley Cup. So if Buffalo, I'm looking at you. If you guys need this luck charm, I can be bought. I have a price. Okay. But yeah, I started the vet work when I was living in Chicago. At that point, it was more of like a calendar aggregator of different events that were going on in the Chicago area. What we found was on any given day, there might be 2, 3 events in the city for veterans. And it was really hard for veterans to decide, do I want to go to an event on guided meditation and mindfulness and mental health awareness? Or do I want to go to this networking event where I can get a job to put food on the table to support my family? And, I felt like we need to do a better job as the service providers to meet veterans where they are rather than making them choose what they wanted to do. The other part of that was great organizations like Team RWB, Team Rubicon, Mission Continues, Wounded Warrior, Travis Manion. They only have one city manager. So that individual doesn't have the bandwidth to go to 2, 3, 4 different events in a given day. They've got their own responsibilities. So they have to make the decision, which population of veterans do I want to help? And which ones do I want to wish them the best of luck, but I can't be there for you? And that's a really difficult position to be in for these veteran organizations that want to help as many people as they can. So we were trying to get out in front of that problem and create that. Fast forward about 2 years, I take a job in St. Louis, make the move. Great organization here, Student Veterans of St. Louis. So my full-time job, I work at the University of Missouri here in St. Louis as the certifying official, processing GI Bill, running the Veterans Center there. And so all of the different campuses all around St. Louis would do a Student Veterans Week. And one of those events was a vet working event. And I was like, hey, I'm not as clever as I thought I was. There's other people using that name. And they did a in-person networking event. When I'd been in Chicago, colleagues of mine up there do an event called Roll Call Chicagoland, or format. We're looking to bring in, student vets, transitioning service members, guard reservists, military veteran spouses, and veteran professionals who work in all these different industries around the region to kind of do some soft mentorship and kind of guide people on, hey, I'm at Boeing. I'm a 14-year project manager. I'm a student veteran in computer science. I'd love to get on at Boeing. Well, let me talk to you about my journey and how I got in, and maybe I can help kind of grease those wheels. So talking with that vetworking group and what was going on, it was like, well, this is great that you have this once a year student veterans week, but you have a hard time making a network when you only see people once a year. As we need to do this like we were doing it up in Chicago, and this needs to be like a monthly, let's get together, have a happy hour, meet one another. It's not like a job fair where it's just a cattle call. I'm going to hand out as many resumes as I can. It is about making connections and building relationships with people so that, after a couple months, it's like, hey, I know Tom. Tom likes craft beer. I can have a conversation with him about craft beer. You've had a couple of drinks with me over the course of a couple of months. Job opens up and you go, hey, I think this guy would be really good for that. And you could make a nice, warm referral or a handoff to somebody. So it gives a lot more opportunity for those genuine relationships to get built.
Yeah, that's a great point right there that you said, is that a lot of times and I know I think you've talked about this, I'm blind when it comes to referring military people. So when people ask me for references, I do two things. I say, yes, I've had connection with this person. They're great. Or the other one is, I've never had, they're a veteran. I don't know that much about them. Just consider them. You make the decision. I always try to open the door for veterans. But when you have that one-on-one that you're like, oh yeah, you need to consider this person, that's what it is. And when you go into some of these networking events, it's so hard. And I went through these stages, Josh. I was like, I didn't want to go, which I know you have those people. They go and they're uncomfortable. They feel they just don't know how to intertwine. Then you get the ones that come in, social butterflies. They don't see the true opportunity that they have in front of them. So then it's just network. It's just network with no purpose, with no intent. And then the other part of that is you have the ones that are going in and sell. And it's like, what can you do for me, right? So you've got those three stages when you go in there. What I've liked about the ones that I've attended with you in person and online through the vet work is it's very authentic, very genuine. You've done a great job of holding people accountable and truthful to bringing them in. I think it's a great organization, and I'd love to see it continue to grow. But kudos to you, man. I love the idea. And the other thing I wanted to point out and get your input on is, I think people forget there are a lot of resources for veterans. It's just how do we get it in front of them? Some of it's the responsibility of us, the veterans, to get off our asses and go look and ask those questions. But the other part is it's out there, but it's so overwhelming, like you said. Do you think that do you agree with that there's a lot of opportunities for veterans out there?
Yeah, and I think that there's, it's hard to see the signal for the noise. There's so much to sift through. We are organized and incorporated as a 501c3. In the process of doing that, I found out, and I'm going to make up the numbers right now. There's an astronomical number of veteran-focused 501c3s in the country, and it's like 1,000 a day get filed in this country or something. It is a really stupid number, and everybody wants to do that. I personally fall victim to it. I want to have a legacy. I want to have something I can look back and be proud of. Being in the Navy, I know I've talked to you about your service. I think in a lot of ways, it was fairly unremarkable. We didn't we weren't door kickers. We weren't out in the country, downrange firing our weapons. We weren't doing all of that. And so there's a part of it that's like, people want to give you that admiration for whatever that is. And it's almost imposter syndrome. Like, I don't feel like I earned it. And so in some ways it's like, if I can continue to give back after and continue serving other people, then it will be more. Now I've received the accolades. Now I'm going to do enough that they're justified. And I don't do that as like a pity or a thing, but just kind of holistically looking at what that is. But yeah, I think that the three people you talk about coming to events, all thrust and no vector. The people who just come in and don't really know which direction to go. But that also applies to the number and the sheer volume of resources that are out there. It's like I don't know where to focus. It's just so much coming at me at once. It's like drinking from a fire hose. That can be really difficult and daunting. But I do think that having the events that we have, making those referrals. We had an event where great guy. He was a 06. He's still active, Army colonel. And we were doing a game. It was like a game night. It was like minute to win it. And so we're like stacking up solo cups and shooting them down with little rubber bands, putting an Oreo cookie on your head and trying to like catch it. And here's this guy who showed up in uniform with the full bird going, I am not going to do this. I don't want to participate. This is not what I expected. And I found him at a following event and I said, brother, I just want to let you know, your interview starts the moment you walk in that room. And you failed. You crashed and burned because the rest of those people who were companies were looking at you and saying, do I want this guy on my team? He's not a team player. He's sitting on the sidelines. He's not going to adapt and overcome. We're agile. All these verbs and things and adjectives we use to describe veterans. He's like, nope, I'm going to take my ball and go home. I don't want to play with these guys. And I said, that's what you put out there, man. Like, you've got to understand that. But if you get involved and you do this, they might not have a job. And Tom, you might not have a job, but you can sit there and say, this dude's a rock star. I like him. So for him, I want him on my team. I want him on my team. And that is what's going to, be that good positive referral. And he sat there, and this little petty officer talking to this colonel, and he sat there and he shook his head and he goes, I get it. I get what you're saying. And I was like, hallelujah.
First off, kudos to you, man, talking to a colonel like that. Woohoo! Awesome. Of course,
I've been a veteran longer than I was ever a sailor. So
it's plus it was Army. You didn't really have anything to lose, right? So, yeah. So when you have these vet working events, you gather a lot of information. You gather a lot of data. You know what the businesses that are coming in. If you could kind of just give 3 tips or three things that you would love to leave for veterans or a veteran that watches this, what are some just like 3 things that you say, do this, and you got time, so tell me, what do you think? What are 3 things they should be doing when they get out, man?
Network. Your network is your net worth. I got out, and you were a little off on hitting the ground running and all of this. I spent the first 2 years getting out, just kind of coasting, just kind of being happy being out, not having somebody, directing me around on what to do constantly and being held to the UCMJ at all times.
You were percolating. You were the percolator. You were percolating. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, it was all under the surface. And eventually, I did hit that wall of I'm looking for jobs. I'm looking for roles. I'm not getting the jobs that I want. There's a ton of great organizations out there that are doing a disservice to veterans, and they don't realize it. There's a group of, 7 or 8 different huge Fortune 500 companies that say we want to hire 1 million veterans. They give the false sense of security that I can just show up and say I'm a veteran and there's going to be a job for me, and that I don't need to put in other work. And so there was a pride aspect of, why am I not getting the job? It's a good economy now. It's 2015. Why am I not getting this? And I didn't recognize that it was going to take a lot more work because I had been disillusioned by the sea of goodwill that was out there that goes, well, why can't I get some of that? So I would say for that, you and I have differed on this term, and I think it applies for me whenever I say this, and you know, in your defense, whenever you don't like it, fake it till you make it. Um, what I say is that if you want to be a real estate agent, you know, go take the classes, do this. But if there's a networking luncheon thing for real estate professionals, go immerse yourself in that environment. For me, wanting to be a veteran, you know, professional and be existed in this world, I didn't wait for the invitation. I didn't wait to be asked to come to the table. I got on Eventbrite. You know, I was in Chicago. It's an area that has a lot more events. St. Louis has more events than you're going to have in Southern Illinois. But going on there and just seeing anytime there was an event that had to do with veterans, I showed up. I went. I was there. I was just involved. And eventually, you know, you just kind of are around it enough and you're picking up things, you're meeting people. Once you're not there, they think that you should be. They're like, wait, why isn't Tom here? Why isn't Josh here? I expect to see them here. They're a fixture in this community now. And so get involved, find professional associations that you can get involved in. And I think that for those of us who are in the vast majority of veterans don't see combat. I mean, I don't think people realize that it's a very, very small number of servicemen and women who deploy. And then of those who deploy who actually go outside of the wire, it's a very small number. I've joked about that, you know, 90% of the people who deploy, only 10% see combat, but 50% of them come back with war stories. So with that, it's like, you don't have to be ashamed of your service. You don't have to totally like lean into it and have just a head to toe everything veteran. But the lapel pin, just kind of knowing, you know, little things that kind of signal to other veterans that you can be there. And the last thing is supporting those around you. You know, be there for them because they can be there for you. The people who come to a networking event or just networking events in general and are all, here's how many cards I can give out to every single person. That's all I'm here for. And as soon as I've given out all of my business cards, they're out the door and they left. They're takers. We know they're just there for themselves. I'm this Rolodex of people. And if you come to me and say, I have this issue, this is my pain point, I'm immediately thinking, who do I know that can fix this? And so I'm trying to like connect them to that. And so that's being a value add to the people that you're around. And I think that veterans, we are a very genuine group. And so we want to help one another. We want to help support each other. There is that goodwill from the rest of the you know, society that wants to kind of help veterans. And so be a giver, you know, help where you can. And then hopefully that gets paid forward to you whenever, you know, you're in need and you need to get pointed in the right direction. If everybody's doing that, hey, a rising tide raises all ships.
I knew there was going to be a reference, man. I knew. So, yeah, 3 great tips. I want to give you the last couple of minutes completely for you to talk about your business.
My business or businesses?
The one you're in, business. This one that I know.
Well, okay, so I guess the vet work isn't a business. I mean, it's a 501c3. And then, yeah, over the last year, as quarantine and lockdown kind of started, trying to get into kind of a hobby of pickling vegetables and things like that. And so I've got my Salty Sailor get up and started that back in April. So I toying around with the idea of it, and by May, kind of had things up and running. And so I've always really enjoyed cooking. You know, my dad, and he was always whipping up stuff and doing that. And so that's always been a part of it, but terrified of the whole idea of, you know, starting up your own restaurant because, you know, just the numbers on how many restaurants fail in the first year and all of that, tons of overhead, being in charge of all these other employees. So starting up Salty Sailor Canning Company and being able to scratch that itch of involved in food to make things was really appealing. And so that's been really cool over the last several months doing that, hitting up farmers markets, Louis P&R there in Heron,
Mm.
doing some sales to people around the area. It's been great. The Stubborn German Brewing Company here in Waterloo, they've got our Cajun pickled green beans in their Bloody Marys now.
What?
So
Okay, that is
yeah,
awesome. Did not know that. I actually visited a friend in that area and had a beer, well, outside because it was closed off. But they give me another reason to come back there.
yeah,
That's awesome, man. So, Salty Sailor, first off, also thank you for letting me give a little feedback and say that I could help guide you a little bit on that, whatever, like 0.1% of that, because it was fun
that
to
was
kind of give
terrifying,
you.
by the way.
What's that?
That was terrifying, by the way.
It was awesome. It was so much fun. And the other thing that I'll finish up with here is what I love about talking with you is that you're right. You mentioned that we kind of differ on certain things and we have different ideas. That's the whole point. But we learn from each other, and I love having discussions with you. And hopefully, we can have you back on in the future, and we'll talk about more in depth the Salty Sailor and maybe starting up food in the can business. That might be something that some of the people out there might like. But I can't thank you enough, Josh, for coming in this morning. And despite all the technical difficulties that I had, we're going to get this redistributed back out there on all the other platforms. But if you want to know more about Josh, you can connect with him on LinkedIn. And you can also follow Salty Sailor on Facebook. He's got a business page, and we'll try to post those things in there. And Josh can go in and post links for everything as well. And again, thank you for all you do for our veterans. Everybody out there, if you or your organization need Harness Digital Marketing and our team to hashtag turn the light bulb on for you, please reach out to us. And as always, be the reason someone smiles and has a happy, happy, wonderful day. Bye, everybody.